So, bam, the button's been pressed. We have green lights. We are on like Donkey Kong up in this hizzy. And I am now live on YouTube Shorts. So for the Shorts and Viewtical viewers, what's up, y'all? What's up? Again, as always, with every stream that I do, you have two options. If you like the traditional option, watching this thing on your TV, or in a more horizontal view, more normal horizontal view, you can do so. If you are familiar or your preference is more of like TikTok, Instagram, or you like viewing things on your phone, you could also watch it vertically as well. Live. Coming to you. Hot. This morning. What's up, Chris? That's my cousin, y'all. That was quite a rant. Yes, it was. It really was. I guess I'm in a mood. I don't know. You could say I'm in a mood for sure. But we'll talk about Venom 3, that trailer that dropped yesterday. We'll talk about some other news, the weekend box office. What's going on, RIP? Nice to see you here. Welcome back again. Always good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. So guess what? I was a little late to stream this morning because I was hoping that this trailer was going to drop today. And it did. So I'm going to have a chance to react to this new trailer live here on the stream, and that is for Alien Romulus. This is one of the movies that I'm actually looking forward to. I love the Alien franchise. I love most of the Alien movies. Let's backtrack a little bit. Alien, classic. Aliens, classic. Alien 3, I don't mind it so much now. Hated it back then. I don't mind it so much now. The rest of the Alien movies, you know, then the whole Prometheus thing that they were trying to do. Interesting premise, interesting concept, but I've always wanted them to go back to how they did things with the original movies. And that is, let's bring some of the horror element back, you know, the horror sci-fi element back, because it's been terribly missing. And now they got Fede Alvarez directing the new Alien Romulus movies. And it looks like, and based off of some interviews I've seen him do, he is bringing back that feel for sci-fi horror and sci-fi action. So basically what we're supposed to be getting in this movie is a mixture of Alien and Aliens. And I think that's awesome. RIP, I didn't know that the Venom franchise could get worse. Oh, you underestimate the big wigs over at Sony. Because what we're going to get in this Venom 3 movie looks so bad. So bad. I don't understand what's happening. But I'm going to talk more about the Venom 3 trailer after I react to this Alien Romulus trailer. Because, again, this is something I've been very much looking forward to seeing more. I like the last trailer we got. So we're going to get a little bit more here. So let's check out this new trailer for Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez. And I'm hoping that you guys can see this. I don't know how this is going to look on the vertical format, y'all. So I hope it looks good enough. Good enough. Let me just... Okay. Sure, volume is up and all that. All right, y'all. Let's check this out. Live reaction time. Ooh, let's go. Wake up, sleepyhead.
Where you want to spend the rest of your life?
You know I don't.
Looks pretty.
Then this is our only ticket out of here.
I don't know where in the timeline this is supposed to be. Fede Alvarez, in case you didn't know. Oh, that looks creepy. Great movies. Especially Don't Breathe. Awesome movie. it feels creepy. It has like that creepy sense and tone. Whoa, what's going on there? Oh boy. That ain't good.
What's happening?
I love the fact that there's so many face huggers just like roaming around.
What do you mean there's something in the water?
There's just something in the fucking water.
Oh, watch out! Oh, we've never seen that before. We've never actually seen them
Fucking things hunting us.
like implant themselves that detailed. Oh man, this looks... I love what they're doing with the sound. Oh, what is that? Wow. Yo, Fetty got that style to it. He got the style down pat.
Are you sure you want to do this?
That felt like a very typical Alien type of scene that you would see. So there you go. Wow. That looks pretty damn good, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, man. That looks... I'm actually kind of excited for it. Look, Fede Alvarez, I haven't watched it yet either. R.I.P. Are you talking about the Alien Romulus trailer that we just saw? Fede Alvarez did something very interesting with the Evil Dead franchise, and he brought it to a level that removed a lot of the camp and a lot of the comedy that we were familiar with the previous Evil Dead movies, and really focused in on the horror element, the creepy nature of it all. And depending on what you preference or what your preference is, I didn't mind it so much. I thought he did a pretty decent job at that. Don't Breathe is an amazing movie. It's one of those movies, again, you don't know what to expect. You think it's going to go one way, and it goes a whole different other direction, and then it throws a wrench into the whole situation and comes up with something even more bizarre than what you were expecting. And I like that. I like that he takes those type of risks. And Don't Breathe was a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But have your stomach ready, because some things get revealed in that movie that is just like, whoa, what's happening, right? Now with this, again, these are just trailers, right? And for what it looks like, this guy was able to nail the tone, the look, and the style and the feel of the first two Alien movies. Now, again, it's just a trailer. I've said this time and time again in the past. There are people whose jobs are to make these trailers look awesome, like mini movies, right? So, of course, it's going to be stylized. Of course, it's going to bring back some of that nostalgic feel to everything. But if the movie itself is exactly like this, sign me up. I'm very much excited for that, because this is what I wanted the Alien franchise to kind of go back to, its roots. So if this is the case here, then I'm looking forward to it. So definitely let me know what your thoughts are here. If this is something you're looking forward to, because it just looks fantastic. And I love that they're not showing us too much. This is a second trailer already. And I feel like there's still things that I don't know what's happening here. Like, why are they going to that ship? What brought them there? Who are these people? And I guess those are some of the things that we're going to find out when this movie comes out. So I'm digging it. I'm digging it big time. RIP, how do you feel about the new Quiet Place movie coming out? I think it looks great. I actually really like this franchise that they created. John Krasinski. I thought the first movie was a surprise and refreshing type of movie to see. Great movie going experience. To be in the theater where there's so much emphasis on sound or lack thereof. It's so interesting to feel and hear the audience be so silent during like the silent moments, and then jump when something big happens. Really great one. The second one I loved as well. I thought, carrying on the story with just the mom and the daughter. Spoilers if you haven't seen Quiet Place 2. um, and getting to see how, at least in their portion of the world, how things started and how people are trying to survive during this whole thing. With this new Quiet Place Day One, I love the fact that we're getting to see it in a more grand scale, how these events started, how the city, whatever city that we're in there, I don't recall what city it is. It's New York, isn't it? Yeah, it's New York. So once again, New York gets effed up, and we get to see the destruction of New York in another apocalyptic type event. But we get to see how it affects like a major city with so many people, right? And I love the fact that Jong Han-soo's character is in this movie, because we got him in the Quiet Place too, on that kind of like refuge island or something, right? But we got so little of him. So I love that we're going to get to see, I guess, more of him and maybe more of what his importance is. And could we possibly be maybe seeing him meet up with or communicate with, the family that we were introduced to in the first movie and then carry on in the second movie? Because it felt to me that they kind of all knew each other, or they were kind of familiar with each other. So I like it. I think they're doing a good job with that type of franchise. So I'm very much excited for it. What about you, RIP? Is that something you're looking forward to? And how about the new Alien trailer we just got? What are your thoughts on that? I'd love to know. So that's Alien Romulus. I also love how they kind of revealed the title very much in the same vein as the original Alien movies. Like, I love how they did that. That was so good. So well done. So I hope the movie is good, but so far from what I've seen from Freddy Alvarez, I have not been disappointed one bit. So I guess we'll see what happens there. All right, let's talk about this Venom 3 trailer. The Last Dance. I think, first of all, it was a poorly missed opportunity for them not to have that. Is it Donna Summer, Last Dance? They should have had her song playing all throughout. Last dance, last chance for love. Like, it would have been kind of funny because, it would fit the tone of the damn trailer that we got, because the trailer is ridiculous. It's just, I'm so baffled as to what they're trying to accomplish with this franchise. It just doesn't, I don't know. First of all, it's nice to see that we're picking up the events directly from that little teaser that we got at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, right? And I guess this is going to be what happens after they get sucked into their universe or another universe, right? Because we see Eddie still with like that crazy Hawaiian shirt and shorts, and it looks like he's somewhere. But they also show, which is kind of confusing to me, the piece of the symbiote that was left on the counter of the bar. And you see, like, I guess the army comes over and picks it up. So I was under the impression that when he got phased out and pulled into, I guess, his real universe or his alternate universe or whatever you want to call it, that symbiote was left in the Marvel proper universe. So are we saying that it's possibly another dimension, or this is another possibility of him leaving that symbiote on the same counter, in the same bar, in the same manner? I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. It is so confusing to me. See, there you go. They're showing it right there, right? Plus, Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this, right? This was Baron Mordor in the Doctor Strange movies. We get a glimpse of the actor who played Lizard in, what is it? Was it the Andrew Garfield movie? Spider-Man? I forget which one it was, but whatever. So it begs the question, what universe are we in? We get to see the lady who owns the bodega. They do this dance scene. They're in Vegas. That's the actor, you know. And then the premise of this whole movie is that the alien world where Venom came from, or where he originated from, is now coming to Earth in order to wipe him out. And of course, you know, that means that it's going to cause havoc all around, right? Now, I don't know if that was part of any storyline in the comic books. I don't know. But it sounds like something that would happen, right? And it sounds very old school comic book typical thing where it's like, oh, you know, the planet where I came from, they're mad at me. Now they're going to come and get me, right? But of course, the piece de la resistance of this damn trailer is that we get to see, you know, the symbiote take over a damn horse, right? And now we have a Venom horse, right? So in the comic books, this kind of stuff happened all the time, where the symbiote will take over a bunch of different forms. He'll take over like a bunch of different animals, people, whatever. He could do whatever he wants, right? Whatever he feels, whatever would, you know, help him accomplish what he wants to accomplish. And of course, that's what everyone's talking about after this trailer debuted. It's like, oh, look, he's turning into a horse. He's going to take over a horse and blah, 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 and this and that. But man, if the trailer is showing exactly the type of movie that we're going to get, it looks like shit. I'm sorry. And I know that it has a fan base. I know that there are people who actually like these movies. Obviously, because they're able to make 3 of them, which still boggles the mind that they're able to make this many. And I was seeing like reactions online of people saying like, wow, this new Venom movie looks fantastic. Venom 3 looks good. Am I missing something? Is it just me? You know? Like, I don't understand. Like, there's nothing in that trailer that got me excited for this movie. Nothing. And again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not the proper audience for it. But there was nothing even in the last 2 movies that we got that I would say was remotely fantastic. Interesting, but nothing that was like, wow, this is so good. I hope they make another one. I can't wait for them to make another one. I've never got any feeling from that. I was surprised we got a second one. But the second one, you know, at the very least, in the second one, I was like, all right, they're going to introduce the Carnage character, which was, you know, a big deal in the comic books. Big deal in the 90s, right? Because everything in the 90s had to be extreme. Everything had to be like over the top. And, you know, we got it. Wasn't great. Woody Harrelson was just really bonkers in that role. But I thought we were going to leave it at that, right? And then, of course, they had to put that little teaser in the post credits, you know, for Spider-Man No Way Home. So we're like, all right, so Venom, all right, looks like this guy is still going to be around. And then when they announced a new movie, I was like, wow, they're still doing this, huh? Okay. I don't know. Let me know. Whether you're watching live or you're watching on the replay, let me know. Is this movie something you want to see? Venom 3? I mean, I'm probably going to end up watching it. Not to say that I'm going to hate watch it, but I'm just curious. You know. Of course, like I always say, I'm not gonna, how can I properly shit on a movie if I don't watch it? And I'm not going into it expecting to shit on it, but it's like, I'm going to it not expecting anything at all. And then maybe it will surprise me. I doubt it, but maybe it will surprise me. I don't know. But it just looks terrible. It looks really, really terrible. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. It the people who I see who are reacting to this movie or to that trailer, with such enthusiasm. Are they putting us on? Are they pretending? I think I think it's a good thing that I didn't do a separate reaction video for this trailer. Well, one, I didn't have time to, but if I did, you probably would have had me just crapping on it the whole time. And I'm sure it probably would have pissed a lot of people off. But I don't know. It just does not look good to me at all. So I'm wondering, who's looking forward to this? Not me. Not me. All right. So that's Venom, The Last Dance. Again, missed opportunity. Last Dance tonight. Especially like during like the Vegas scene with is it Miss Chen, the name of the lady who runs the bodega? They're doing like this dance number and Venom's all out and it just looks so ridiculous. It would have been really funny if they played that song during that whole moment. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to spend the money on the rights. All right. Let's talk about this past weekend's box office. Normally, I would be talking about this on Mondays, but I wasn't able to stream yesterday. So we'll quickly just recap the weekend box office numbers and just how sad everything was. Really, really sad. So going over here to thenumbers.com. Let's see, make that so that everyone can see. So Garfield movie actually beat out Furiosa at this past weekend's box office. Garfield pulled in $14 million, a 42% drop from the previous week. The weekend before, during Memorial Day weekend, it was actually in second place, so it jumped up to number one. Furiosa, major nosedive from the previous week, I should say. It was number one during Memorial Day weekend. Didn't pull in a lot, and it definitely didn't pull in a lot this past weekend with 10.7 million, 59% drop from the previous week. It's still... I always say the proper way for audiences to react to things that they don't want is to not support it. And it looks like the audience is speaking up. They didn't want this movie. They weren't asking for this movie. And this was a movie that didn't appeal to them. Is it because they were hoping to see more Mad Max, the character himself? Was it because they didn't care for a backstory of Charlize Theron's character? Was it because Anya Taylor-Joy is in it? Or is Chris Hemsworth kind of like the bad luck charm here? Because anything that Chris Hemsworth does outside of the Marvel universe doesn't seem to ever do well, right? That's why I'm very curious what's going to happen with his career moving forward when he continues to do more stuff that's outside of the MCU. I honestly cannot think of any other Chris Hemsworth movie that he was a part of outside of the MCU that actually did decently at the box office. So does this mean that actors and actresses can no longer dictate on how well a movie is going to be or how well a movie is going to do? And I think it's a shame because Furiosa, I thought, was a very good movie. Worth watching. 100%. But people don't think so. And, I talked about this already in a previous stream that I'm going to plan on clipping out and adding additional context to. That general audiences are now so comfortable and so accustomed to watching movies at home And they know that if they're patient enough, that in what, a month, 2 months, in the Fall Guys case, 2 weeks, that they can watch this at home. They'll pay for it, $20, $25 for the premium. But they rather do that than go out in the movie and spend what? What was the breakdown that I had? It was like around to $50 for a couple to watch a movie nowadays. Over $100 for a family of 4. So yeah, it's a shame. It's crazy, and I guess it speaks up on what is going to be the movies that bring people back to theaters, and they're going to have to be like giant event type movies, like your Barbies, like your Oppenheimers. The last time we ever got to see anything like that was Avengers Endgame, and that was really the last big event movie to ever happen. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see. Chris with a question, with popcorn and soda. Yep, I did a breakdown. I forgot which stream it was, and I was just looking at New York City numbers. All right, I understand that in other regions it's going to be a little bit different, but if you lived in New York and you went to a movie on like a Friday night, Saturday night, so I'm not talking about like a discount matinee, which a lot of theaters don't necessarily do these days, but you go to a movie with somebody, 2 people going to a movie, you're spending close to $22 per ticket, right? So that's like around, that's like $45 for 2 tickets. And then one large popcorn and a large soda, that's another $20. So it's really like $60 you're spending, 60 or more, for a couple to watch a movie in New York. If you lived in California, it's actually going to be a little bit more expensive than that, because I think ticket prices in California are more expensive than New York. And if you're a family of 4 watching, let's say, the Garfield movie, you're spending around $120, because kid prices are only like $5 cheaper than adult prices, and that's not a lot. Yeah. Chris saying they might need to make a larger tray of nacho with cheese. Well, then you're probably going to have to end up paying for that. Chris says, I kind of missed the $1.75 tickets with BYO bag of popcorn days in the 90s. Yeah, the dollar theater experience was interesting. So there's this long-running YouTube channel called Red Letter Media that I actually really like. And it's funny because yesterday? They released a video about the death of movie theaters. And it was so funny that I was like, wow, this really is a topic that's in the minds, in the lexicon of people right now. Because I did my kind of breakdown the week before. And a lot of things they said, I even talked about in my breakdown. And the way that he broke it down of how movie theater, or at least that experience back in the day, was very interesting. And I remember it to the T. You had 3 tiers of a movie's lifespan in the original days. Like, I'm talking about like 80s and 90s, right? And a little bit like in the early 2000s. You had 3 tiers of a movie's lifespan. When a movie first comes out, it is run through what they call the initial run theaters. These are like your major theater chains, maybe some mom and pop chains, but your major chain movie theaters, first run theaters. So you're going to have multiple screens dedicated to this brand new movie that just came out. And if it does well, you could expect it to be in that theater for several months, right? In Titanic's case, it was around for 18 months. Can you believe that? And that's a rarity. That never really happens. But once sales starts dipping, then they are removed from these theaters, or maybe they're regulated to like one theater, like one screen, and it'll last for like a couple weeks or whatever, and then it's gone. Once it's gone, it's going to be gone for like a month or two, and then it hits the secondary theater level. Your dollar theater, your $1.75 theater, your $2 theater. In Manhattan here, we had a $2 theater in the city. And I remember watching Austin Powers, the first one. I think it was like 4 months after it first came out because I missed it. I didn't think I wanted to see it, but then some people from work that I worked with said, hey, we're going to go catch Austin Powers at the $2 theater. I was like, sure, let's check it out. I'm glad I did because that movie was fantastic. But then it'll have its run during those theaters because there's a different level of, I guess, distribution that they have a deal with, right? So now all your mom and pop theaters will run this movie. Once that runs its course, it leaves the theaters altogether. What's going on, Wesley? Thank you for your comment. Thank you for chiming in. Like Avatar gets expanded to more theaters and even came back. Yeah. You know, if a movie does really well, you will see that kind of, action with that movie, right? But in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, once it's finished its theatrical run, it is gone for like 4 months, 5 months, sometimes 6 months, and then it hits the home video market. So now you can go to your Blockbuster Video, Hollywood Video, and now you can go and rent it. If you wanted to buy it, you could too. If you were in the 80s, VHS tapes used to cost $100. It wasn't mass marketed yet. Later on, thanks to movies like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman '89, it made it more consumer friendly. And they said, studios said, oh, we could actually make a killing allowing people to buy these movies for themselves. Why don't we just start selling it in a more mass market way? And they started doing that. That's why almost everybody in the late 80s, early 90s owned a Batman videotape. Everyone I knew owned one because they were selling them at freaking McDonald's and Burger King at one point. You could go to the store and buy it for like $20. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think if you went to Pizza Hut, they would sell it to you for $5 at one point, right? So you had now your chance to kind of watch this at home for the home video market, right? And one of the funny things too, because I worked at Blockbuster Video at one point, is during the weekend of a new movie release, everyone, of course, is dying and chomping at the bit to get this movie. If you go to your video rental store and it's all gone, sorry, come back tomorrow. Maybe you'll get a chance to get it. So it's another like anticipated event that people have to go through in order to watch a new movie. And if you look at the cycle of this all happens within like a year or two span, right? We don't get that anymore. A movie hits the theaters now. It runs for like a month. And then literally now in like 2 months or shorter, you could expect it now to be streaming on some sort of platform at any given point. Whether or not you have to pay for it on Apple or Amazon, or it may pop up on Netflix or Peacock or Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, right? So the turnaround is so quick now, too quick. And because of things like, pandemic and all that, it allowed people to get accustomed to waiting and being more patient. Plus technology has advanced so much that, watching a movie at home in the 80s was okay. But now, with your bigger screen TVs, your superior sound systems or sound bars that you could have, some people prefer it. And I've had people, chime in and comment saying that they prefer watching movies at home now because they don't have to deal with the exorbitant prices or the bad behavior from other patrons in movie theaters, you know, which these guys, Red Letter Media, they talked about too, right? And I get it. It all makes sense to me, you know. But as a lover of movies, and, you know, I can't say that I love the industry because there's a lot of things that the industry does that I really hate and I don't understand. But I love the movie theater going experience. And I don't think it's ever going to go away fully. But I think there could be possible changes that could be made in order for things to at least have hope that there's a way to kind of turn things around. And I think Disney is going to start testing those waters with Inside Out 2. And I'm going to talk about that in the news portion a little bit later on. Because the one thing I said to a friend last week after I did that episode where I talked about the breakdown of why aren't people going to movies anymore, I said to him, if I was a movie studio, I would just say, look, this movie's coming out and you're never going to be able to see this movie until another year or two after its theatrical run. I would stop the small release window of releasing it on streaming, and I would expand on that. I'd be like, you know what? It's going to be in the theaters for 3 months. Once it's in the theaters, you won't be able to see it again until another year when it finally hits streaming. So you are creating that anticipation, that want, that need. Because could you imagine if you know, Warner Brothers released Superman Legacy, which is coming out next year, and they said you'll only be able to see this movie in theaters for the following 3 months. Afterwards, you're going to have to wait another year until you get to see a chance to see it at home. Could you imagine how many people are going to go to the movie theater now to watch that damn movie? Because everyone's been waiting for that movie, right? Or at least they're curious about that movie. Could you imagine if they did that with Barbie? How many more people were going to go and watch that movie? If I was a studio, I would do that. I was like, you know what? Time to hike up our pants, strap our boots in, and let's do something wild and crazy. Let's shake up the world a little bit. Let's shake up the industry a little bit. And I think Disney's going to do that with Inside Out 2. What's going on, Star-Lord? Star-Lord in the house? Was just watching a movie and missed this 15 minutes ago. It's all good. What movie were you watching? Let me know. Let us know. All right, going back to the box office. If remains in third place, $10.5 million this past weekend. Then you have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, $8.9 million coming in fourth. Fifth, you have The Fall Guy, $4.1 million. I'm actually surprised that this movie is still making money. You know, despite the fact that anyone can stream it at home at a premium price. Very surprised about that. The Strangers Chapter 1, $3.7 million in sixth place. In seventh place, you got Haiku, The Dumpster Battle. It's another anime movie from Crunchyroll. $3.6 million. A new horror film, In a Violent Nature, came out last week. So it debuted at 8 with $2.1 million. This is another interesting movie here because I've heard a lot of people talk about In a Violent Nature, but my local theater that I go to only has one screening a day for this. Why is that? I don't know. It's so weird. Ezra from Bleecker Street, $1.2 million coming in ninth. And then rounding out the top 10, you have Summer Camp. I believe this has Kathy Bates in it, and it just looks like, and I hate to say this, it's like an old person's movie where you just have a lot of old people in it, and they're, you know, living like their best summer or something like that. It kind of looks like that type of movie to me. So it's like $1 million from this past weekend. So there you go, an abysmal weekend at the movie theaters and at the weekend box office. Starler, I don't watch movies that I wait for. I watch movies that release. I am in the process of watching the Back to the Future trilogy. Oh, awesome. What I guess made you want to rewatch this trilogy now all of a sudden? I mean, I love that trilogy. I still say that the first Back to the Future is maybe a perfect movie, in my opinion. So I'm just curious. So yeah, so what I was wanting to do was I wanted to break down, because there's a lot of movies this year that are being re-released in theaters, and I really wanted to do a breakdown as to how well they are doing. The reason why that came into my mind, the whole thing came from this article that I read about the decline in attendance for the Spider-Man re-releases. Like it started off strong because Sony did this thing where they're re-releasing all the Spider-Man movies every Monday until they're done. And this already started, I believe, a month and a half ago. And they said like it's just like a steady decline week to week, that the interest just doesn't seem to be there for these movies to watch in the theaters anymore, because duh, you can watch all of them at home, right? So I really wanted to kind of like break down and see how well they're doing, but I'll save that for another stream, another episode, because I just didn't have the time to pull all the numbers together and work on that. But yeah, that is your box office weekend there. Oh, the Back to the Future trilogy is free on YouTube. Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually pretty cool. Speaking of YouTube, all right, I want to talk about something about YouTube right now. Not sure how long it's been available, but it feels like it just became available. Yeah, I would feel like, because of the way the algorithm works and all, I would have been suggested that, because I get suggested a lot of movies in my YouTube feed. A lot of the free movies that would have definitely popped up. So it must be new. I don't know, because I've never heard of it. All right, I want to talk about this YouTube channel. Now, Shout is a company that's been around for a very long time. They are what I would call kind of like a movie and TV distribution company. They will pick up licenses or work with studios to release and maintain certain movies, TV shows, what have you. They've been around, like I said, forever. They did the same thing with music for a long time, Shout Factory and all that. A lot of the more recent popular DVD releases comes from either Shout or from Arrow Film, and they all do the same thing. They're distribution companies. Shout has a tremendous following because they focus a lot on horror films. So a lot of like horror releases that they put out are very popular. And what they do is that they maintain a YouTube channel. And I think they started on Twitch at one point. And they maintain a YouTube channel where they do 24-hour live streams. This is one of the companies that does 24-hour live stream of Mystery Science Theater 3000, which I really, really enjoy. But also Mystery Science Theater 3000 has their own separate YouTube channel where they do 24/7 live streams of their seasons and their shows. But Shout does a lot of other things as well. Star-Lord, the Godzilla in the background's tripping. Well, the reason why he's up there is because this little guy behind me kind of broke Netflix over the weekend when they finally released Godzilla -1 on the streaming platform. They did a very interesting thing, and I don't know if I agree with this. So Godzilla -1, when it first came out, obviously it was like a limited run in the theater, and it blew everyone's socks off, right? Wesley, sorry, I missed your chat there. I feel like 80s, 90s movies are the best for re-releases. Like the action movies, anime, if they get a re-release, or Blade Runner or Alien would be good since Alien Romulus is coming out. Yes, I agree with you. I think that's why when they did the Alien re-release recently to celebrate its 45th anniversary, I thought that was brilliant, especially since Alien Romulus is like a throwback to like those movies. So I guarantee you that did well, because I think a lot of people wanted to rewatch that. And someone like me, I never had a chance to watch it in the theater at all. So I made sure to catch it, and it was so good. It holds up very well. So I do agree with you. I think certain though like movies from those eras could possibly do well. While others, when it's too soon and too new, I think you're wasting people's time when you try to re-release that in theaters, because at that point, like I said, they rather watch that at home. But if it's a classic, like you mentioned, like a Blade Runner, or I would think, and maybe they're planning to do this, re-releasing Aliens in the theater would be fantastic. I guarantee you that would do really well, because, you know, James Cameron, I mean, people love his movies. Titanic, when he released that in theaters, what, 2 years ago, it did, I think it was #1 at the box office for that weekend it came out. And it made more money. Hence why I think it reclaimed the top spot of all time because of that. James seems to do that a lot. You also mentioned it too, where he did that with Avatar and kind of like re-released it in theaters just to say, hey, good job, Endgame. But you know what? We're claiming back the #1 spot. And I'm going to re-release this in theaters and make more money. So yeah, so I agree with you there. But going back to Shout. So I just recently found out that Shout has a YouTube channel called Tokusatsu, which is a play on tokusatsu, which is kind of like the live action Japanese shows that you would see from the 80s and 90s. So like your Kamen Riders, your Super Sentai shows that eventually became the Power Rangers here in America. You know, they focused on a lot of those type of programming. And they have a division where they maintain a lot of that. So like Ultraman, they maintain the license for Gamera, the old Showa era Godzilla, right? So they have a channel where now they're doing 24/7 streams of Saiju Sentai, right? They have Kamen Rider Zero, Ultra 7, Mirai Sentai Time Ranger, right? They have Gamera, they have Godzilla and Friends. So it's like really like old school Godzilla movies, Kamen Rider, you know, but they're doing something else where they're also live streaming 24/7 Jackie Chan movies or Sonny Chiba movies, you know? So I highly recommend you guys check them out if these are some of the things that you never had a chance to see, right? Because like some of these things are extreme classics. Like Jackie Chan movies, especially the older Jackie Chan movies, are great. And the fact that you have a 24-hour stream of those movies, well, granted, you'll never know which movie you're going to like fall into, but that can be a lot of fun for watching at home. Sonny Chiba movies are always classic movies, in my opinion. The old school Godzilla and Gamera films, 1000%. And they have Reboot, also the classic TV show from back in the day that I'm sure a lot of you love out there. You can watch that 24/7. And they also have Digimon. So if Digimon was a favorite of yours, you could also watch that 24/7 too. But the one thing that caught my eye. Wait, Starlord, sorry, I missed your comment. Have you heard about the guy that wants to bring another submersible to the Titanic? All I have to say is good. Yeah, I did hear about that. And yeah, people are nuts, man. It's another rich guy too, isn't it? Yeah, you know, when you have a certain amount of money, I think you get bored and you have nothing to do. So you come up with crazy, crazy antics like that. Yeah, good luck to that guy. But the one thing that caught my eye and why I want to talk about it today is that for some reason, they're streaming Alf in Japanese. Look. All right, now they're in this is like one of the credits, right? We all know that Japanese people love cutesy characters, right? That's why Ted, when the Ted movie came out, that was a big hit in Japan because Japanese people love cutesy teddy bears. And even though Ted is like a raunchy type of movie, comedy movie, it was a big hit in Japan because of the Ted character. What's going on, pizza? Of course I like pizza. I'm in New York, man. Home of the pizza, really. Love me some pizza. I'm assuming you love pizza too. Real quick, everyone here, what are your favorite go-to toppings on pizza? Go. Starlord, I think now more things are getting translated in different languages. Chris, it's like an American Doraemon. Yeah, Doraemon. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I never thought about that, but you're right. Alf, in a way, is kind of like a Doraemon character, except Alf cannot time travel and doesn't have cool gadgets like Doraemon does. Some things are still not translated, but people ask for it. I think in this case, honestly, this looks like something that was already pre-dubbed in Japanese. So I'm thinking that this is something that has existed that I had no idea about. And like I said, it piqued my interest, and I really would love to do a deep dive on what happened here. Because Alf was a big deal in America when it came out. I remember when Alf came out, it was a huge phenomenon. Everyone loved the TV show. It turned into a Saturday morning cartoon after a while because it became so popular. I think it was either Pizza Hut or Burger King had a Alf promotion where you could get with your Happy Meal or Kids Meal an Alf plushie. And there were different versions of the Alf plushie with different outfits, right? I remember there was that going on. He had a Thanksgiving Day balloon for the parade at one point. So Alf was huge. And I remember watching the show when it was out and loving the show because I was young and I thought it was cool. But I don't remember watching it to its completion. And I heard it went in a weird direction towards the end of the series. So I would love to kind of do like a rewatch and go from the beginning to end to see what happened. Because I heard the ending of Alf was bizarre. And I think they tried at one point to bring Alf back, but that didn't work out. I also remember watching a movie with Ben Stiller called Permanent Midnight, which is kind of loosely based off of the creator of Alf and how that guy was very much like into drugs, and how a lot of things that he wrote for the Alf show was based off of his hallucinations that he had while he was on drugs. It was also like one of the most disturbing things about that movie was that they show Ben Stiller, the guy, in a car shooting up heroin next to a baby in the car seat, which is kind of funny because now you see that in real life now, right? So it's funny how life imitates art.
Wow.
But yeah, so I highly recommend you guys check out Tokushoutsu. It is an interesting channel, especially if you're into Japanese culture, if you're into, Japanese programming. And if you're just curious about watching Alf in Japanese, by all means, please check it out. I think it's fantastic. What's going on, Lil D? How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in, chiming in, saying hi. Hope you're having a good day. So yeah, Tokushoutsu. All right. Let's talk about some news. Some of the latest headlines here. Because there's a lot of interesting stuff that kind of came up. Some things that I definitely want to talk about. First of all, if you are a subscriber to Max, get ready. You got some price increases coming your way. it's kind of interesting because, you know, we were talking about the whole landscape of movies, you know, how fast things come to streaming, how, you know, for the last 3 years, it's been very much like the wild, wild west when it comes to streaming and platforms, because a lot of these platforms are still trying to figure out what the secret sauce is, what that perfect formula is, and they haven't yet. That's why you see things like this happening. So Max is about to raise its price for ad-free subscribers for that tier. The ad-free plan will go up by $1 to $16.99 a month, while the ultimate ad-free tier also rises by $1 to $20.99 a month. $20, basically $21 a month for a streaming service is way too expensive. Like Netflix is, I believe, $16 or $17 a month for ad-free right now. Way too freaking expensive. So I think these numbers are insane. But it says here, the Max streaming platform has raised its prices for monthly and yearly ad-free plans. Beginning Tuesday, that's today, the Max with ads plans remains unchanged at $9.99 a month or $99.99 for a year's service, but the ad-free tiers will see their prices rise. As previously mentioned, $16.99 a month for, what's that? Without commercials, $170 for the year. Ultimate ad-free tier goes to $20.99 a month. The yearly ultimate ad-free plan will jump $10 to $209.99 for the year. The new prices will apply to new subscriptions. Existing monthly and yearly subscribers will be told 30 days before their plan comes up for renewal of the new pricing. How about that? So expect to pay more for your Max programming if you want to see House of Dragon, the Warner Brothers movies, all those things. Expect to pay more for your subscriptions there. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very happy about that. For me, I'm lucky enough that I'm getting Max for free for now because my mom still has cable and she subscribes to HBO, hence why I get Max for free. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when I actually have to pay when I actually have to pay for Max. All right. There's this Star-Lord saying, I don't have time for House of Dragon and some other things. Okay. Did you ever watch House of Dragons, or did you ever want to watch House of Dragons? I'm curious. All right, let's talk about Godzilla Minus One, because like I said, it blew up over the weekend. And yeah, I alluded to how I thought that their strategy was very interesting. And the reason why I say that is because Godzilla Minus One came out, big hit at the theaters, right? And it was only supposed to be out for a limited time. After that, obviously, people were expecting it to come to streaming. Of course, there's a lot of people out there who can't wait for the 4K version to come out. But Toho has been very quiet about it. Very, very quiet. A month ago, I want to say, Toho finally released a physical edition in Japan only. Actually, I have it right here. And I'm still planning on working on a Beyond the Disc episode for Godzilla Minus One. But I have. The only way you could own Godzilla Minus One physically is to get the Japanese version. So I have this here. Still sealed because I'm planning to do the unveiling in the video I'm going to be working on. But there are no known plans for physical release yet in the United States or in other territories. But just like out of nowhere, they announced that it was finally coming on to streaming but all at the same time. Meaning, the first day it was available, you could either buy it, rent it digitally, or if you have Netflix, you could just watch it for, as part of your Netflix subscription. And ballsy move on their part. But I also feel like, well, there are so many people that subscribe to Netflix now that you're missing on that opportunity to make more money by doing it in a tiered release. Have it release for purchase or rent first. Then maybe a month later, have it available on Netflix. I don't know. That's just the way I would conduct the business side of things. But they decided to release it all in one shot. And because of that, Godzilla Minus One set a major streaming record this past weekend. Over here on Dark Horizons, Toho's highly acclaimed Godzilla Minus One made an abrupt and long overdue jump to both video on demand and SVOD platforms. So that's subscriber video on demand on Saturday, and the results broke a record. For the first time ever, a film that is both streaming on Netflix and available on VOD is simultaneously #1 on both charts, first hitting the top of Netflix charts today and VOD charts on its first day of release. It's especially surprising as the release was unannounced. News of it breaking as the film began rolling out on services. Like I said, it just came out of nowhere. No proper marketing announcement for it. Just say, hey, by the way, this weekend, you could see Godzilla Minus One on Netflix. The film itself was released in early December to significant North American gross of $56 million and an Oscar win for its visual effects. However, because of agreements and concern about confusion with Legendary's Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire hitting in March, it led to a highly unusual 6-month window before any home availability. That's longer than even Christopher Nolan got with Oppenheimer, which took 4 months to hit VOD, but took even longer, 7, to hit SVOD via Peacock. This was combined with the lack of any pre-announcement of the release, or that Netflix had even acquired the rights for multiple territories, including the United States. Even Netflix wasn't touting the film's release on its service until it began actually streaming it. The color version of the film is on Netflix in many major territories and VOD platforms in some territories. The black and white version is on VOD platforms in some territories and is coming to Netflix later this year. So, how many of you had a chance to watch Godzilla Minus One this past weekend? Because I've already seen it twice before. And I obviously, as you could see, I own it on physical media. I didn't decide to buy it digitally because I'm going to wait for the US physical version to come out. But I am not surprised that this was going to happen. The Godzilla fan base is tremendous. You know, every time I do something Godzilla related on the channel, it blows up because there's such a major fan base for these things. So many people have this love for this franchise, right? And, you know, it winning the Oscar, making major news that, it won the Oscar for visual effects, definitely helped it and helped pique the interest, because when the Oscars came out and when they were given the award, you couldn't watch Godzilla Minus One in theaters anymore. It already ran its course, right? And it wasn't available on streaming anywhere. So you had more interest in people wanting to see this movie to see like what the hype was about, right? So there you go. Starlord, I don't have, it's not a disinterest, it's just too much stuff out. Oh, trust me, I totally know what you're talking about. Starlord, I'm not really a fan of anything. That's not true. You are a fan of Beetlejuice. Wow. Of course, I'm just messing with you. No, you're a fan of some things. I think, personally. Just based off our conversations. So, great news for Godzilla Minus One. Great news for Toho. I'm really happy that people finally are getting a chance to watch this movie, because it definitely deserves to be seen. And I personally think it's one of the best Godzilla movies that we've gotten in a very long time, because the Americanized Godzilla films, I'm just, you know what? It's a movie to go shut your brain off, shove a bunch of bad food in your mouth and just, you know, have fun, I guess, that way. But when you're looking for a Godzilla movie that has story and character, you know, characters that you care about in it, Godzilla -1 is a must watch, 1000%. Star-Lord, I'm a fan of everything, apparently. Not like a huge crazy fan of one thing. Okay, well, yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like people who call themselves jack of all trades. It's like they're good at multiple things, but not exceptionally good at just one thing, right? So when it comes to fandom, you're a fan of many things, but you're not like an uber enthusiastic 1000% fan of one major thing, which actually I think is better that way. So you don't get involved and caught up in a lot of the discourse, the conversation, the visceral that could happen within a fan base, you know, like your Star Wars, your DC, your Marvel. You know, you could avoid a lot of that shit. So I think that's even better. Yeah, that's why I make multi-fandoms. Yeah. You know, it's in a way I'm kind of like that too, but I will say I am a huge fan of Star Wars. I am a huge fan of anything Marvel because I grew up with Marvel, reading the comic books and all that. But at the same time, I also know how to be civil and express my opinions and feelings better than most. So so I don't get caught up in a lot of that hatred and, you know, geek boy fandom, fanboy kind of, you know, conversation. Because, look, ain't no one got time for any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this is the piece of news that I wanted to talk about that I think Disney is going to try to shake things up a little bit. And they're testing things out with Inside Out 2. So Inside Out 2 is being reported that Disney is planning to run it for 100 days in theaters. 100 days. Pixar's upcoming Inside Out sequel is expected to be one of the biggest films of the year, they're hoping. And Disney is reportedly vowing to ensure its success by giving it something only a few films are getting this year, a long theatrical exclusivity window. Pixar president Jim Morris tells Bloomberg that Inside Out 2 was screened for at least 100 days in cinemas, more than double the 47-day window of Lightyear and the 89-day window of Elemental on the Disney Plus service. That means the earliest the film will arrive on digital platforms would be late September. The aim is to help reverse the consumer mindset after short-lived Disney CEO Bob Chapek's decision to have 3 Pixar films, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red, bypass theaters and jump directly to the Disney Plus service. This seemingly trained audiences to expect Pixar pictures to premiere on their phones and in their homes instead of in cinemas, according to the outlet. Lightyear was seen as a victim of this, as was Elemental at the beginning. No, Lightyear was a victim because Lightyear sucked. That movie was horrible. So regardless of its release window, that movie still would have done poorly. Disney stuck with it, though, leading to Elemental staying in cinemas and ultimately doing well at the box office. Morris aims to continue that trend. Quote, I hope that we will not release another feature film on Disney Plus. If we do more stuff for Disney Plus, it should be a series. And then that makes a clean demarcation between what we do for theaters and what we do for streaming. Pixar's first animated TV series, Win or Lose, will premiere later this year on Disney Plus, while an Inside Out spin-off series titled Dream Productions is in the works for 2025. First Inside Out grossed $858 million worldwide. The sequel arrives in cinemas on June 14th. So, all around free for all, that's a skateboarding term. All around free for all? Is that the term you're referring to? I used to be a boarder back in the day. Until I hurt myself, and then that was it. I was never really that good. I think this is really interesting news here. And what was said in this article, or what was said by, Jim Morris about the training of audiences. It's not just Pixar or Disney. All the studios followed suit. Disney obviously was the first one to kind of fold and rush to get things on their platform as soon as possible during the pandemic. Who remembers the crazy fiasco of Black Widow? When that came out, and how if you wanted to watch it on Disney Plus, you had to pay for it on Disney Plus. But you're already paying for Disney Plus. So they were asking you to kind of double down just to watch that movie. They saw that didn't work out, and then they tried something else. And a lot of these studios, that's why I call it the Wild West, because everyone is still trying to figure out how things work. The minute Warner Brothers followed suit and released Dune day and day in theaters and at home at the same time on Max, that was the end game right there. If you ask me, audiences now know, I could just wait. Oh, I'll be able to watch it at home. So very much to what I alluded to before, is that in order for these studios to make a difference for their movies that are coming out in theaters, you really have to retrain the mindset of people who still love watching movies. And I'm sure it's going to piss off a lot of people, right? But at the end of the day, it's a business, unfortunately. Creative things aside, movies is a business. And studios need to figure out how to get their money back and how to make money. Now, there's a lot of things I think studios should do first. Lower budgets, lower marketing budgets, do all those kinds of things behind the scenes that will help them save money before doing stuff like this. You want to help the movie theater chains out there, have the distributors change their commissions, their cuts. Give a little bit more to the theaters so that the movie theaters can afford to lower the cost of their popcorns, lower the cost of their candy. Because, if you allowed theaters to lower their prices and maybe play around with the ticketing prices, then you'll get more people back in theaters. So you're still going to make out very well. But the studios, I think, got very greedy. And that just doesn't work anymore. So there definitely needs a readjustment. Just like how audiences need to be readjusted with that mindset of watching movies at home versus in the theater now. So this is going to be an interesting test here, because this is a family film. And I've said before that family films don't do well anymore because families prefer to just watch these at home now, because it's more convenient, it's easier, it's cheaper, and you don't have to deal with the hassle of going to the theater with your kids. But this is a highly anticipated sequel. Inside Out, the first one, was a huge success. I love that film. I thought that was really good. It was really well done. It was very emotional. They did a great job at explaining what someone goes through in their minds and their emotions at that age, especially as a young girl, right? Now we're dealing with a teenage girl, introducing the new emotions, the new feelings, and how that's going to be kind of contradicting and in argument and in conflict with everything else going on. You know how many girls can relate to that? How many teenagers can relate to that? How many parents can relate to that? So you know this is a movie that they're going to want to watch. If they're only allowed to watch this in theaters for this amount of time and maybe wait, what? Till September, October, maybe even, let's just say December. Yeah, I could see them pushing this out on streaming during the holidays because that would make a lot of sense. Then would it increase people going to the theaters to watch this? Maybe. And if it works, I guarantee you other studios will take note and they're going to test the waters themselves. But they're going to have to change up their marketing. This also reminds me of the Disney Vault. Who here remembers the Disney Vault? Star-Lord, if Marty rides a hoverboard, is he a street skater, or because he has a lot of hang time, is he an invert skater? Does having wheels make a difference? Now you would have to kind of think of future mindset, right? Like if our future, which is present day, according to the Back to the Future universe, if everyone had hoverboards now and the wheels were only regulated to kids or children? No, actually, everyone had hoverboards. So I think it would just transfer over at this point. That street skating is still street skating. It's just now they do it with hoverboards. If you were to think of it in a mindset, right? That's what I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. How would hoverboards work on a half pipe? That's what I'm curious about. We never got to see that happen. That'd be weird. Could you imagine Tony Hawk on a hoverboard trying to do his giant 1080 on a half pipe? I wonder if there's going to be more momentum because there are no wheels involved. Could he possibly be doing more than what he's able to do now? I don't know. It's a good question. Wish I had the answer to that. By the way, for those of you, and I'm very bad at this. For those of you watching on the shorts feed, do me a huge favor. If you want to have good karma or make this guy very happy, hit that like button, please. That would be greatly appreciated. But Marty is the only time traveler. This question is for him alone. I think in his mind, look, Marty was never really like a skateboarder. Marty just happened to like riding skateboards. I think for him, it would still be considered street skating, I think. Yeah. Marty wasn't exactly doing ollies and freaking, all these moves that we've seen, at least from what we were shown. When he used the board to jump at one point, it looks like he just did it as a reflex reaction. He was flying, but I don't think that makes a difference, honestly. I hope you're enjoying this in-depth conversation about hoverboarding versus street skating. What is it if you were in the universe of Back to the Future in the year 1998 or whatever that year was? Welcome to Hoverboard Talk. I'm your host, Renee Zalata, and I'm here with my special guest, Star-Lord 7. And we're debating the topic, is street skating still street skating if it's done with hoverboards? Chime in. Max saying, I was just about to ask, what convo did I just join? There you go. So yeah, very, very, this is going to be a very interesting test. And very much what I alluded to before. It's like if I ran a studio, I would change the whole release window concept, and I would purposely shake things up and shake my marketing up. Very much like what Disney's doing here. And what I alluded to before, very much like the Disney Vault. And I asked, like, who remembers the Disney Vault, right? Because if you remember the Disney Vault, that was the concept that Disney created to create that fever for their movies. What they did is that whenever a movie was released on home video for the very first time, or even in the theaters, right, it would have a limited run for, like, let's say 3 months, right? After that 3-month period, they marketed it this way. You'll never have a chance to see this movie again for a long time, because it goes into the vault and gets locked up, right? So you created that fever for people to want to go out there and watch this, because it's their only chance to watch this, right? And that business model worked. Because, and I remember this, when they released Little Mermaid on VHS for the first time, it was like a big deal. It's like, now you could buy Little Mermaid on home video for the low cost of $19.99, but only for a limited time before it gets locked away in the Disney Vault forever. And they did it. And they did that with Beauty and the Beast, and they did that with all of their movies, even their older movies, Cinderella, Snow White. Now, fresh out of the Disney Vault, you can buy Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs for a limited time. But act now before it gets thrown back into the vault. And each time they release this stuff, people bought it. Because if you missed out on the first time, you're shit out of luck for, who knows, a year, right? Now, this is what Disney's trying to do here, in a way. And I won't be surprised if later on down the line, we hear that term again, the Disney Vault, the Disney Vault, the Disney Vault. And I think business-wise, it's smart. And Disney can afford to do something like this. If you're a smaller independent studio, of course you're not going to be able to do anything like this, right? If you're a smaller independent studio, you want people to actually watch your film. So don't make them wait, right? You're going to make them want to watch it as soon as possible. But for something like this, for Disney and Pixar to say, hey, you're only going to be able to watch this movie in theaters for 100 days. That's the only way you're going to be able to watch this movie. And then afterwards, TBD. You know, you're going to have to change the marketing. If other studios are going to follow suit, let's say Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine, catch it in theaters this weekend and only in theaters for the next 3 months. Until it gets tossed into the Disney Vault. Or what other movie's coming out this year? I don't know. Nosferatu. In theaters for the next 90 days. And I would even say this. And streaming in the year 2026. What? A whole year? Gotta watch this movie now. Call me crazy, but I think it could work. I really, truly think it could work. But we'll see. Disney is the guinea pig in this situation, which is funny because for the longest time, it was Netflix who always tested the waters out with a lot of things. But Disney is putting their foot forward and just saying, you know what? We need to figure something out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very, very interesting. If it actually works, very interesting. So Marty, it happens from time to time, random questions. Marty stole a kid's scooter and turned it into a skateboard, potentially creating history. The kid was like, wow, look at him go. Yeah, well, that was a big joke about that, right? Where back then, like in the 50s, skateboards weren't a thing. So he essentially created the very first skateboard. What's going on, Arnold? Nice to see you too. Glad to see you again. How you been? Hope you had a great weekend. Hope your week is going well so far. Star-Lord, 15 to 20 years later, Tony Hawk was born. That's right. And you could see a young Tony Hawk, I believe, in which movie is it? Was it one of? Oh, it's the Police Academy. Police Academy 2, I think. Max, I was about to disagree that adding artificial scarcity will just piss off its customers, but then I remember that is exactly what a ton of other businesses have done. Exactly, and I did say that. It's like when I was talking about this topic, you are going to upset people. You know, you are going to really upset people. But if you want to shake things up, you have to take that risk in pissing people off. And you, like you said, other businesses have done it even without a second guess. You know? At the end of the day, business is business, money is money. It sucks. I hate to say it and talk about it that way, because that's one of the things I hate about corporate America, but I understand it too, because, you know, what I do here is a business, right? So I understand some of the things you got to do. Arnold, yes, everything perfect so far. Good to hear, man. Tony Hawk was the first game I played on PlayStation. That was a great game too. Really great game. Yeah, Max, Tony Hawk was in Police Academy. It was him and David Spade. Tony Hawk, Police Academy. It's Police Academy 4, yes. Police Academy 4, in the very beginning of the movie, Tony Hawk and David Spade were like these punk skateboarders that they had to kind of arrest and seize. And it's so funny because David Spade still, I mean, you could tell like that looks like David Spade right there. And then Tony Hawk is just, yeah, that dude is Tony Hawk. And I believe they were like teenagers in that movie. Yeah, Star-Lord. It was a fun scene. And of course, at the time, watching, because I remember watching Police Academy 4 in the movie theaters. You don't know who these guys are, but watching it so many years after the fact, you're like, holy shit, look at that. That's Tony Hawk. That's David Spade. It's so funny. Max said the article says he got fired from it. Yeah, I did hear something about that too, because they were just putzing around. They didn't like listening to instruction, right? Yeah, it's really, really funny. But Arnold, to go back to Tony Hawk, I remember when I went to E3. This was during one of my stints in the video game industry. It was so funny because Activision was promoting Tony Hawk 2, I want to say, and they actually built a full indoor half pipe, and they had him and his buds do performances throughout the weekend. So, and again, this was during the time when the video game industry was very high on themselves. Money was not a thing. They would spend so much money on marketing and promotion, and they actually went all out to do something like that. And I remember walking by, it was like a caged off area in this convention center. It was at Staples actually. Because or next to Staples, a major convention center there, and it was loud as hell, you know, and especially when Tony Hawk was on the half pipe, and just people were going nuts. Arnold, I think it's great that he earns so much, but does a lot for skate. Oh yeah, like I love seeing those videos of him driving around and giving away skateboards to people. You know, it's like, you know, like that's like one of the coolest things I ever saw him do. And you see these young kids like, oh my God, that's Tony Hawk. He's giving me a skateboard. Wow. Great documentary on Max, I think it was, about Tony Hawk. Highly recommend you check that out. I forgot the name of it, but I really, really like that documentary. Arnold saying we used to always play the game, then we went out and wanted to imitate it well. Then we realized, yeah, I was having a conversation here with Starlord about skateboarding. I said, yeah, I used to be a boarder back in the day. Wasn't ever any good at it. And I hurt myself, and that was it. That was the end of my short-lived career. Oh, yeah, Max. Yeah, the soundtrack to those games were fantastic, too, at the time. Again, you could tell Activision put so much work and care into those games. Very much like what EA did with the Burnout series, because the soundtrack for Burnout, the Burnout games, are always so good. Starlord 7, he faked the hover. I love how Starlord is still into Back to Future. You know why Starlord is talking about Back to the Future? Is because he's rewatching the trilogy right now, or he's in the middle of it because it's free to watch on YouTube. So it's so funny how he's like in that mindset right now. It's great. It's fantastic. Going to the whole hoverboard thing, as a kid, I remember having conversations with my friends, and we were talking about rumors that the hoverboard was real and it was secretly built by the military or the army, and how they got the permission to use it in that movie and they weren't supposed to, and blah, 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 this and that. We were having such crazy conversations. And I don't even know where these rumors came from. So I'm wondering if you guys had those same conversations too. Arnold, what do you think about the remastered version? I never had a chance to play it. It looked cool. I know people who've played it, and they said they actually had fun with it. But I never had the chance to play it myself. Have you? It would be really interesting. You know, I know they're trying, like, Skate, that game Skate, tried to come back for a bit. I wonder if they really, what would happen if they really sat down and did a brand new Tony Hawk game. Like, I wonder how well that will be received, especially with like the current younger generation. Didn't they try to make one with a skateboard controller that was terrible? I think I remember that, Max. Yeah. That just looked awful. Oh, no, I played it. It was really cool, but the one that just stays out of the old point. Yeah. I know what you mean by that. Chris chiming in, rumors came from Area 50. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny how when you're kids, you sometimes think about how did these conversations come about? You know, like I remember, like I had a conversation with a friend of mine years ago about how did we know Darth Vader once fought Obi-Wan, and that during that fight, that's when Vader got burnt up. Like, how did we know that? Because it was alluded to in the original movies that there was a conflict, right, between Vader and Obi-Wan. But they never really divulged as to how he became Vader. And at that time, there were comic books. The Timothy Zahn books didn't really come out yet. But yet I remember having those conversations saying like, oh, yeah, you know, the fight with Obi-Wan and he got burned by lava. How did we know that? Where did that come from? Was it like in the back of an action figure case or something like that? Or am I here with us tomorrow? The new Star Wars series is coming out. I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm going to be covering it here. So it's funny. They're doing something different because here in the United States, it's coming out tonight. It's releasing at, 9 p.m. Eastern time? What's going on, Lil Sa? Nice to see you again. Hope you're doing well. The 2 episodes are coming out tonight. So tomorrow around noon, I'm going to be doing a special stream just recapping and reviewing the 2 episodes. And every week after that, I'll be doing that with every episode that releases. So yeah, if you want to join in on the conversation, definitely hang out and we'll talk some Acolyte, Star Wars Acolyte. Star they can make drone hoverboards. They can, but I wonder how fast they would be. You know, Acolyte does look good. I'm actually looking forward to it. You know, I hope the tone stays, and I hope it doesn't, you know, become weird. I'm good. What about you? Hey man, I'm living. I'm doing well. It's a busy week for me this week, but I'm having fun here. What time is it with you right now? Right now it is 2:22 p.m. Eastern Time. Eastern Standard Time. Arnold, I know you're in Germany. Is that right? So are you 6 hours ahead? I can't remember what the time difference is. All right, Lil Sa. Thank you again. Always love that you stop by to say hi, man. Always appreciate that. Starlord saying they would need a handheld remote control for the drone boards. Yeah, that's true. You definitely would need to be strapped in. Wait a minute, isn't that what was it? Didn't they explore that a little bit with Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movies? In Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi movie, didn't who's that? James Franco, didn't he have kind of like a drone hoverboard? Right? Didn't he have something like that? And then later on in the Garfield Spider-Man, didn't Dane DeHaan have something similar too? Arnold, it's 8:23 p.m. where he's at. Yeah, so yeah, you're like 6 hours ahead. Okay. So what time is the Acolyte releasing for you over there, Arnold? I'm curious. Because I got a lot of conflicting information when I was doing research online about the Acolyte. Spoilers, I'm working on an Acolyte video, kind of like 12 things we know about the Acolyte so far. And one of the interesting things is that it's releasing on Tuesdays in the States instead of Wednesdays like it used to, like any other Star Wars thing used to. I'm hoping to release that video tomorrow, by the way. That's the plan. Arnold saying it's coming tomorrow around 10 a.m. on Disney Plus. Okay. That's cool. So, yeah, by the time I do my stream tomorrow, which will be 12 p.m. Eastern time, you would have probably already have seen it by then, I think. If you have a chance to see it early, right? So are you still watching Back to the Future now or no? Or did you put a pause to it? I see hovering drone cars already, but let's face it, they won't mass produce it. Nah. Could you imagine the regulations that they would have to create for that? No way. Not anytime soon. That's one thing I will say. Back to the Future lied to us. It created such expectations that by this time we would have hover cars, hoverboards. self-drying jackets, lace-up shoes. Well, they did create the lace-up shoes, but you had to what? They were like $1,000 a pair. The lace-up shoes. Arnold, I just now see that you have Funko Pop figures. Do you collect them? I used to. I call it a very bad obsession that I had with Funko Pops. So much so that I would try to go to the conventions and get the exclusive ones. And if you have ever tried to go to a convention where Funko had a booth, trying to get an exclusive from them is basically like winning the lottery. They have a lottery system where if you're chosen, you are allowed to visit the booth at the time they designate for you. And every time I tried, I failed horribly. That I got so pissed off. And then I realized, wow, I spent so much money on these things and I'm running out of room. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So I stopped. It just like smoking cigarettes, one day I just quit and never went back. But yeah, I'm still a fan of them. I mean, a lot of them are very cute. I think I'm going to eventually sell most of them and I'll keep the ones that I really resonate with me. That's awesome. You have the Big Bang Theory set. Like, I like the ones that are from like obscure movies because like those characters will never get like action figures made out of them or whatever. So it's kind of cool to have like a vinyl representation of them. And I will say, it's too much of a hassle to grab it right now, but they did a great job with some of their more recent Star Wars figures that they made them look like their comic book versions from the Marvel comics. So it has kind of like that drawn style to them. And I think artistically, they look fantastic. So that's something I would still keep because it just looks like a great, great display piece overall. Do you have any other ones, Arnold, as far as Funko Pops are concerned? Star-Lord is around the end of part 2. Are you at the point where he is trying to get the almanac from Biff? On the hoverboard. Great practical effects in that movie too, man. Great practical effects. How they were able to make the DeLorean look like it was actually floating. Like I know how they did it now because obviously I watched a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. But man, that's movie magic right there, man. Arnold, I have a large collection of Star Wars Lego and I wanted to get the Commander Rex for 300 euros. And then they just bring out a set of which costs $12.99. And the figure, oh wow, look at that. Did you pick it up? Dude, I figured out so many paradoxes in that movie. I bet. Legos are a whole different beast too. Like I like Legos. Like I own some Lego sets that I haven't built yet. There's this new Lego set that they came out with that is based off of Batman the Animated Series, where it's the Gotham City skyline from the animated series. And that thing looks so gorgeous. Like I would love to have that and build it and hang it on the wall. One day. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. They make such interesting sets, man. They look so fantastic. Arnold saying I got them for 12 euros. Luckily, I was still waiting. Otherwise, I would have lost. Yeah, could you imagine? Spending 300 and then later on just finding out you could have just spent 12. That would suck. I would be mad at myself and mad at Lego for doing that, but it happens. But I'm glad you're able to save your money and get it the other way. And now you have a Rex. Nice little Commander Rex Lego figure. There's one other topic I do want to talk about for this morning, because this cast for Knives Out 3 is sounding to be really crazy ridiculous in a good way. But this ensemble that they're doing is freaking bonkers right now. Like, if you thought Knives Out 2 had a lot of people in it, oh, you haven't seen anything yet. So let me read this article here from The Hollywood Reporter and get this annoying ad out of the way. So here's everything that we know about Knives Out 3 so far. Okay. Obviously, Daniel Craig is going to be back as Benoit Blanc. I love his character in these movies. These movies are so much fun. So he's definitely going to be reprising his role. And the Knives Out film is actually going to be titled Wake Up, Dead Man. They did a weird trailer announcement of the title, which is interesting. So they're trying to really build the momentum and excitement for it, right? Arnold saying I never saw it. I would recommend you check out the first one. And if you like the way the first one was, the second one doubles down on that. And it's crazy. In a good way, in my opinion. They're both really good movies. And Rian Johnson, regardless of what you think of him as a director, if you're just judging him on the Star Wars movie that he directed, he's actually very good at these ensemble movies. And I think his true genre is this mystery whodunit genre, because he does it very well. Very, very well. So if you want to give it a shot, I would say check out the first Knives Out. And if you like that, then you'll probably more than likely really like the second one. The article says here, like the original Knives Out film, featured an ensemble cast that included Chris Evans, Jamie Lee Curtis, Ana de Armas, and many more that they're now mentioning here. Let's see. Johnson told The Hollywood Reporter that even when we were making the first movie, I was thinking if this does well, it would be fun to keep making them, but always in the way that Agatha Christie did her books. And it's true. He is treating this franchise very much like an Agatha Christie series. And then that's when Netflix agreed to giving him $469 million to work on 2 Knives Out sequels, right? So we got the last one in 2019, right? Called Glass Onion, which had Kate Hudson in it, Janelle Monáe, Edward Norton, Dave Bautista was in it, so many more. And now he's getting ready with his upcoming sequel here, right? So the title is Wake Up Dead Man, but here's the cast. This is what I wanted to talk about here. So right now, the cast stands as we have Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Mila Kunis, Josh O'Connor, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, and Daryl McCormick, along with Daniel Craig. So you have a mix of seasoned veteran actors with some of the new up-and-coming actors all in this movie together. Kaylee Spaney, I feel like, is in everything now. And I've never heard of her before until I saw Priscilla last year. Then she was in Priscilla. Then she ended up in as a voice in one of these animated movies that came out recently, or If, was it? She's a voice of one of the imaginary friends in that. She was also in Civil War. She's going to be in Alien Romulus this year. And now she's going to be in the third Knives Out movie. So what a career she's having so far. Jeremy Renner, this will be his first movie back after his accident. Josh Brolin, which is great. Glenn Close, of course, legendary actress. Josh O'Connor, who was just in Challengers. And he was so good in. Andrew Scott, who's making a big name of himself. He was recently in Ripley, that series on Netflix. Crazy, crazy cast. And I'm so excited for this. Really excited for this. As for the plot, though the film's title and cast has been announced, plot details are still being kept under wraps. When announcing the film's title, Netflix vaguely teased the plot, saying, "That's right, Daniel Craig is back as the suave Southern investigator in Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, a new installment of the whodunit franchise written and directed by Rian Johnson. Blanc will be unraveling a brand new murder mystery in an as yet undisclosed setting, surrounded by a new colorful cast of suspects." In a teaser video, voiceover from Craig as Benoit was featured. All right, I'm going to try my best to recreate his accent because Arnold, for you, who's never seen the Knives Out movies, Daniel Craig has this very thick, absurd Southern accent from the States. I'm going to butcher this. I think Star-Lord's going to be mad at me. In the beginning, the knives out. Oh, sorry. In the beginning, the knives came out. Then behold, the glass was shattered. But my most dangerous cast yet is about to be revealed. I do declare. I say, I'm going to make him sound like Foghorn Leghorn now. I say, I do declare my most dangerous case has yet to be revealed. Sorry, Star-Lord. I apologize. I say that because Star-Lord is from the South, like proper South. Sorry, I missed a lot of your comments here. Before old Biff stole the time machine, how didn't he remember exactly how it was taken back from him in 1955? Unless a memory appeared after Biff returns, then why not get back in the time machine? Because it just wouldn't make sense for the movie. I think it's already been proven that the way that Back to the Future handled time travel wasn't exactly accurate. I don't care. I mean, still makes it a great series of movies, but yeah. So speaks my uncle who's drunk. Nice one, Arnold. Nice. And then it says here that the movie itself will be released Netflix globally. Oh, 2025. For some reason, I thought it was going to be released this year. Okay, so we have a year to wait for that. And why is this is from Ferris Bueller? Why is she here? Oh, these are these like clickbait ads, huh? Everyone wanted to date her in the 80s. This is her lately, and they're going to try to show her as like an ugly thing. Stop it. Stop it. But yeah, I'm totally excited for Knives Out. And Arnold, I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't a chance to. And I'll be curious to hear what you think about it if you have a chance to see it. Star-Lord paradox! Biff just gave up because he broke a hip in the car. And then he broke his cane, his handle, right? And left it behind. And then that's what Doc saw. It's like, oh, Marty! Biff stole the time machine! I don't think he said that, but he was thinking it. Maybe. Your kids, Marty! It's about your kids! Did you see, Star-Lord, since you're into Back to the Future, did you see the post I had on the channel last week? I was reminded 7 years ago today, when I was in LA, I actually went to the actual house, Marty McFly's house, that was used for the filming. And it still looks the same, man. So, I wonder if you saw that, Star-Lord, on my YouTube channel. Or anyone else, if you want to check it out, I have it as a post. Posts can only be seen on mobile versions of YouTube, so you won't be able to see it on desktop. Arnold, what is your celebrity crush? Ah, good question. So I have several. And I'm not as nuts about this as I was when I was younger, obviously. Right? When I was younger, my all-time favorite celebrity crush as a kid was what's her name? Oh my god. Why can't I remember her name now? She was on the show Who's the Boss? Alyssa Milano. Yes. So when I was a kid, my big crush was Alyssa Milano. Today, I have several. And they're kind of like all over the place. All right. One of my major crushes right now is Bryce Dallas Howard. I don't know why. There's just something. First of all, she's a redhead, and I go a little nuts for redheads. And she's voluptuous, but she's also kind of nerdy, you know. And the fact that she was able to direct some of the coolest episodes of The Mandalorian, I don't know, something like that. It was just like, she's got it for me. I also am very attracted to Vanessa Kirby, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jessica Chastain, redhead, you know. I can't help myself. Yours is Emilia Clarke. She's very, very attractive too. But yeah, those are kind of like my, I guess, celebrity crushes there. And I will always say this, Idris Elba, if I were ever tempted to dip into that side of the pool, Idris Elba, man. That dude is a handsome dude, man. If I could be like him, unbelievable. Sorry, Biff just, sorry, I read that already. But all these memories can cause a paradox. Think of 1985 Doc not remembering bringing Marty to 1855 and 1955. Why the hell is he still flying in the thunderstorm? Because it wouldn't be much of a movie. You have to build that big moment, that crazy moment that will tie the reason why he went all the way back to the West and old-timey days, right? I see where you're coming from, though. 1000%. If this was a more serious movie that was made today, if Christopher Nolan directed Back to the Future today, all of this would be addressed. All of this. The question goes out to you, Star-Lord. Do you have any celebrity crushes? Just wondering. Oh, and by the way, another celebrity crush I had back in the day was Elizabeth Shue. The first time I saw her pop up in Karate Kid, and then when I saw her in Adventures in Babysitting, wow. She was cute. And still is today. Very attractive. Her and Wonder Woman. Oh, what's her name? My memory is so bad sometimes. I don't know why I get like Linda Carter. Linda Carter. Woo! At one point, I had a crush on Gal Gadot, and then I kind of seen more of her personality. I'm just like, kind of tired of it. So he just pretended because he wanted to go back to the West. Because he knew, I'm curious, because he knew he found the love of his life, or because he wanted to be part of that, because he already knew that he was going to have that experience, or just because he wanted to. Arnold saying one of the biggest streamers from Germany has bought back from the future the board with autograph. Over $140,000. Wow. Look at that. Sorry, Star-Lord. You can't own the original Back to the Future hoverboard. AKB Mobile. What's up in the house? My childhood crush was Bernadette Peters. That's a great, great choice. She was very, very attractive back then. Bernadette Peters. But I think also a lot of us had a crush on Carrie Fisher at one point, right? The minute we saw her in Return of the Jedi, I think it's safe to say a lot of us had crushes on her at one point. Some would say their first crush they ever had was probably her, growing up at that time. I also was attracted to, was it Barbara Eden? No, Yvonne Craig. Yvonne Craig, who was Batgirl on the Adam West Batman show. I thought she was very attractive. Arnold, whoever you ask the women these days who find attractive, everyone says Aquaman. Well, that's Jason Momoa, man. Jason Momoa is like the cool dude, right? It's like, it's kind of like, you know, when you go back to like the 80s and 90s, a lot of people found the surfer dude attractive. And that's Jason Momoa today. He's like kind of like that surfer dude mentality. You know, he knows how to have a good time. He knows how to be serious. He's charming. He's sweet. In a way, he took over that from The Rock. Because for the longest time, everyone had crushes on The Rock. Right? Yeah, Max, I mean Steven Adams. I mean, him and Steven Adams really do look the same. And I think now it's transferred over to Jason Momoa now. Max, what about you? Who was your celebrity crush? Or at one point, what was your celebrity crush? Star-Lord, just from 1955 standpoint to 1955, Doc should have remembered Marty coming back from the future, and that memory would last 30 years to 1985, considering that he also remembered to put on the bulletproof vest. Paradox. Wow. I just love Star-Lord going off on his Back to the Future rants. It's so entertaining. Arnold Wenzel, Angelina Jolie. I mean, not just from Tomb Raider. I mean, Angelina Jolie at one point was super attractive. And then she lost too much weight. In my opinion. Nothing wrong with losing weight. I just think she went a little bit too Hollywood. And I hate that when actresses feel they have to lose that weight in order to look better on screen. I guess that's also one of the reasons why I have a huge crush on Bryce Dallas Howard, is because she doesn't allow herself to fall into that. You know, there's something sexy about that. Max says probably Jabba the Hutt. I mean, those eyes. Not just the eyes, man. The things that he did with his tongue. Dude. Back then, PG and PG-13 were very different back then. So much tongue. So much. You couldn't get away with that nowadays. Chris chiming in. Donica McKellar. The driver? She's the NASCAR driver, right? Or am I thinking of someone else? Oh, no, she is the Wonder Years. Yeah. That was Arnold's girlfriend in the Wonder Years. That's right. Yeah, no, she was cute. I got to see her in person once when I attended an award ceremony at E3. She was a presenter there. Because isn't she like a math genius now or something like that? She played Winnie Cooper on the Wonder Years. Time travel is just too disastrous. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's why if it exists today and somewhere in Area 51, they're messing around with time travel, they're going to do their best to keep it to themselves. Because once that goes out, once it gets leaked out, all hell's going to break loose. Arnold, but you can see that with many actors, how they unfortunately develop into the negative. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, that's like the system, right? The Hollywood system. Sucks. I've been sitting here thinking of celebrity crushes, but can't think of any now. That's Star-Lord. Chris, her and Phoebe Cates from Gremlins was my celebrity crushes. Phoebe Cates was cute too. I mean, geez. You watch her in that movie, what was it? Fast Times at Richmond High? Getting out of the pool. You have to be careful, bro. The FBI is watching. We're having a good time here. We're not being serious. We're being silly. Silly, silly, silly. Oh, Starlight, you're watching Back to the Future, so I think Elizabeth Shue is in that one, isn't she? I brought her up before. Didn't she? She replaced the original actress from the first one to be in parts 2 and 3, right? To play Marty's girlfriend. Yeah. She replaced Jennifer. She became the new Jennifer. Arnold with the question, what are you actually doing for work? So outside of this being, I consider this work, I am also a freelance project manager. I would say that is the thing that really helps pay the bills. What about yourself? What does everyone do? AKB, regarding time travel, any property lore that accepts time travel also seems to have a dedicated department, force, etc. that is dedicated to stopping, managing, misusing time travel. We all know that time travel is inherently bad. Yes, I would agree with that. That's why, like I said, if it does exist, if somehow the government is aware of it, I'm pretty damn sure that they're trying their darndest to keep that under wraps. But with all of this new UFO stuff coming out, the UFO regulation, all that stuff, you know, now what they refer to them as UAPs now. Now the conversation about maybe they're not, maybe they come here through the use of time travel and multi-dimensional time like travel, that is throwing a wrench into things. And I think that's why there's a lot of stuff going on on the government side of things about that. So she was the original Jennifer in my book because part 2 was the first one that you've ever watched. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. It's interesting that Back to the Future 2 was your first movie, not seeing the first one. I guess, yeah, honestly, you could go into that franchise just watching part 2 because part 2 starts up with Marty, your kids, and all that. And you could kind of just look at it as, oh, this is kind of a silly thing what's happening here. And in a way, during the movie, they kind of recap everything that happened in the first one when they go back to 1955, right? So in a way, Back to the Future 2 is kind of like watching 2 movies in one. Arnold says, I work in a parking garage in the office. Awesome. Very, very awesome. What kind of office is it? Government? Regular commercial business? Multi-dimensional travel, maybe. But could aliens have FTL? I believe it. Have future time. What? FTL? I don't know what that abbreviation is. Sorry. Hell, humans are still using an advanced form of steam power as most power energy we have, nuclear. Yeah, that's true. Faster than light. Yeah, okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, at this point, anything is possible out there. You know, there's only so much we can know right now. When you have galaxies, universes being around much longer than our own. So I wouldn't be surprised in the least that that kind of stuff does exist in another far-on galaxy, whatever. Definitely another dimension. Is mainly concerned with security in the multi-story car parks of Regensburg for the city. Oh, okay, Arnold. Awesome. That sounds cool. Have you been working there long? So, yeah, it's like Terminator 2. Come with me if you want to live. I want to... This is going to be interesting because we're on this like Back to the Future conversation. I remember a long time ago, I thought, this was before I knew anything, I thought Steven Spielberg directed Back to the Future, only to find out that he's just a producer. Could there be an argument made that maybe Spielberg is a better producer than director? Because if you look at all the things that he helped produce, when you kind of tally that up with the movies that he's directed, which is the better list? Oh, controversy. That could be something that could be in a future episode. Arnold went till 2 years now. Okay, cool. Awesome, man. AKB, that's why I love Mass Effect series. It explains why and how we are not alone in the galaxy in a neat scientific way. Mass Effect is a very good series. I haven't played all of it, but from what I have played, I enjoyed it. What's going on, Thomas? Love your hat. Thank you. Are you familiar with the team? I don't know if you're in the United States, but it's a minor league baseball team. Chris, the truth is out there. Mulder and Scully are on it. Nah, I'm from the UK, but it looks cool. Okay. Whereabouts in the UK? So this is an actual logo for a minor league baseball team in Alabama called the Trash City Pandas. Rocket City Trash Pandas. And that is their mascot and logo. East London. Awesome, man. Thank you for chiming in and checking out the stream. Vasantha Slay, slay, slay.
Wow.
Got that right, girlfriend. Thomas, it's all good, bro. Oh, well, Thomas, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Arnold, I really want to travel to Philadelphia. What was it about Philadelphia that attracts you to that place to go? Temporal displacement time travel. It's the kind that can be alternate and paradoxical. What wasn't there a movie that talked about temporal displacement theory? Am I dreaming that up or no? I feel like there was something like that. No? Am I losing my mind? If anyone knows what I'm talking about, let me know. And Vasanta, if you were trying to get me to say that, I am not going to say that, but thank you. Arnold, I find the history of the city very interesting, and I am a big Eagles fan. Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I hope you get a chance to visit. Philly is definitely a nice little city. I visit there once every year or 2 years, and there are certain spots I love going to. It's definitely old US type of city. There's a lot of history there for sure. Thomas, do you like alien films or like Predator? I do. I started the stream earlier today reacting to the new Fede Alvarez Romulus trailer, Alien Romulus trailer, and it looks great. I love the original Alien. I love Aliens almost equally because they're very different movies, but they're both equally great. Alien 3, I've learned to appreciate it as I got older. First Predator is a classic. Predator 2 has grown on me in years, even though I do consider it to be very campy. Prey was freaking fantastic. I love that. And I love that they're working on another one, which they just announced. I didn't read it as part of the news, but they got Elle Fanning to be in the new Predator movie, which will kind of, I think it's supposed to take place in another time period. So I think that's going to be great if they keep it along the same lines. But yeah, I'm a big fan for sure. What's my favorite sport? Basketball. I'm a big basketball fan. Chris, Star Trek? Maybe temporal displacement theory. Maybe it's from Star Trek. I don't know. I can't recall where it's from right now. Arnold, I want to try the original Philadelphia cheesesteak sandwich. All right, Arnold, if you ever get a chance to go and you still watch my stream, and I'm still streaming and I'm still doing YouTube, hit me up because I think a lot of people will go to two spots that are very touristy, and I wouldn't consider them to be the best cheesesteaks. I'm going to tell you a spot that I go to personally whenever I'm there. It is hands down the best cheesesteak I've ever had in Philly. Thomas, what's your favorite team in basketball? Well, I live in New York. I grew up in New York. So unfortunately, I would have to say it's the New York Knicks. We had a good run this season. One of the best we've had in a long time. But I've been a big time Knicks fan ever since I was a kid. So Thomas, is the Phoenix Suns. I thought they were going to do better this season. It sucks how the chemistry doesn't seem to be really there. And I think Devin Booker kind of just gave up. I think he's done. AKB 100% agree with on his Philly cheesesteak nomination. That's we had that, didn't we? At one point, right? What's that noise? Oh, that's my stomach. I'm like, what's making that noise? My stomach is gargling. I haven't had anything to eat yet today. And you know what? All this talk about Philly cheesesteak, and I'm remembering how good that cheesesteak is. Oh, Thomas, yeah, they didn't do the well. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't. And it sucks because I feel like they have a pretty decent core, but I don't know what's going on. It'll be interesting to see what they do um, next season. Someone's hungry. That's right. That someone is me. Knicks are the best. Well, Arnold, thank you so much for saying so. They were definitely, they had a moment in the 90s that I'll never forget. And I'll never forget catching some Knicks games in the 90s era because basketball was such a different beast back then. Yeah, after the marble exhibit at the Franklin Museum, that's right. AKB with the memory. That is right. That was a fun exhibit too, man. That was a great time. So one summer, I forget how long ago, AKB, who's a very close friend of mine, and two other friends, we did a road trip. We drove from New York to Philly to check out this very special Marvel exhibit that they had, which is kind of like a history of Marvel Comics, which was a fantastic exhibit that they had at the Franklin Institute there. Arnold, write this down because you definitely want to check out the Franklin Institute whenever you visit. And then afterwards, literally like across the way, we hung out at this rooftop bar, which was nice. And then we went to that spot I said about the Philly cheesesteak. And it speaks for itself. I think it blew a lot of people's minds away. It's just so good. Thomas, good luck on your exams. What kind of exams are they? Everyone here wish Thomas good luck on his exams. You're going to ace them. Ace them.
Wow.
GCSES. What is that? I'm going to look that up. I don't know what that is. GCSES exams. What is that? What does GC... Oh, okay. So for those of you that don't know, the GCSE is an academic qualification exam. General Certificate of Secondary Education is an academic qualification in a range of subjects taken in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Look at that. I didn't even know that. They're like exams that graduate you to go to college. Ah, got it. Well, Thomas, wish you the best of luck. Ace them exams. I hope you do well. In case you don't know, I have another stream, same stream, also on YouTube, but in the regular format, not just a vertical format. So we have people in that chat wishing you luck too. Star-Lord, good luck. AKB also wishing you luck in that stream. So when you take them, let us know how it went. Would love to hear it. Chris, also wishing you good luck on your exams. Sharing the love here, man. Arnold, a stupid question. Is the museum in New York really there at night in the museum? Yes, that was the Natural History Museum. So that is a real museum, Arnold. Ever since that movie came out, at certain times, they actually had sleepovers at that museum. I don't know if they still do it now, but they had sleepover nights because of the popularity of those movies. But yeah, it's called the Natural History Museum in New York. It's right next to the planetarium where they also have, it's also very fun. And that's more like science based and space based. So yeah, good stuff. Oh no, OG, bring in the pain. Get out of here. Keep the pain to yourself. What's going on, Oz? Another close friend of mine. By the way, Oz has a great show. Monday nights, he does a podcast called What Up, Son? With the Double Toasted crew. If you're familiar with Double Toasted or not, definitely check his show out Monday nights. It's a good time. Good time. Tom says, nearly finished, got 5 left. Woof. Again, best of luck to all of you. Best of luck to you on all of them. That's what I meant to say. Hella boring. Well, exams suck. I was never good at exams. Especially like those, like, so here in the States, we have, depending again what level you are in high school, we have something called Regents exams. Do they still have them anymore? I feel like they don't mean anything anymore. But the Regents exams, and it was so silly. It's such a racket, I think. But basically, it's like higher education, almost college level at certain points, that will allow you to graduate with a Regents diploma that was supposed to be very fancy to kind of show whatever college you're going to and will help you with your admissions and all that. And I hated those exams, man. I really did. They're like the worst. So I know your pain that you're going through right now. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Hang in there. It'll be over soon. So, Lord, you know how Bill and Ted played the time game. Why couldn't Marty and Doc do that to get the almanac? That's a good question. I don't know. Thomas, been to the States a couple of times. Cool. I want to live there after uni. Oh, awesome. Where in the States do you think you would want to live? And from those who are here in the States now, we'll tell you whether or not you should do it or not. AKB. Oh, American Museum of Natural History is still doing sleepovers. Oh, they still do it. Okay, mainly for groups of kids and their chaperones. Okay, cool. It's nice to know that they still do that. Yeah, I remember when they first started that, it was mainly as a response to those museums. I mean, those movies. And I thought it was like an awesome concept. Awesome concept. Especially if you're a kid. Could you imagine like being a kid and thinking that you have an opportunity to spend an overnight at a museum? I think that would be fun, but also terrifying at the same time. Because just how quiet and hollow everything feels, I would be afraid that things would definitely come to life for sure. Tom is saying, I don't know, like Miami or Long Beach. Long Beach, California. Miami's cool. I don't know if I would say I want to live there. It depends on what you want to do at the end of the day. Long Beach is nice in California. Arnold, I was once in Texas and loved the food and everything, but the weapon thing surprised me a bit now. A bit how free it is there. If it surprises you, it surprises me still. The fact that it was free carry over there, that you're allowed to just walk around with a gun holstered, or a dashboard, just have a shotgun there. Oh no, Florida, man. Austin, Texas, really. Yes, Austin is very nice. I have a friend in Austin now, and yeah. Austin is also great if you're into like entertainment, because Austin has a very robust entertainment scene there. Thomas, I've always wanted to go to Colorado Springs. Oh, nice. I hear Colorado Springs is very nice. I never had a chance to go myself. I have heard it's very nice. Chris, they started doing sleepovers at the National Aquarium in Baltimore. That's awesome. That's all. That must be fun too. In an aquarium. I wonder if they keep the tanks lit up while you sleep over, or do they turn them off too? AKB, and you get a pic of you and the Titanosaur. Ooh. See, now that would be cool. A pic with the Titanosaur all alone with no other people around at night. Sounds like a horror film in the making. I don't know. Thomas, it's a long time, man, to think about life and what to do. Yeah, you got a lot of time. You definitely got a lot of time. But I will say this, as someone who's definitely older, don't waste too much time thinking about it. If you feel like you want to do something, try to do it as soon as possible, because if it doesn't work out, you still have time to course correct. I will say that. Arnold, here in Germany, it is forbidden to enter. Beware of the dog. But in Texas, I saw houses where it was forbidden to enter. Otherwise, you will be shot. Yes, that is very true. Self-defense is a big thing over there. Yeah. Right for self-defense. Chris saying only found out about it since my kiddo is in the Cub Scouts. That's awesome, Chris. Really. Would you plan to do something like that with him? Star-Lord 7. Paradox! Sorry for the... I'm just busy reading and trying to catch up with the chats, everyone. Sorry for the dead air. This makes for really good radio, as I'm just like spacing off into reading the chats and all. But I'm, you know, it shows you I'm interested in seeing what everyone wants to say. So, fuck off. Just like that, I got into a commercial. Wait, hold on. Did you just get served a commercial for the sleepover at the aquarium? Because if that's so, that means they're listening.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Hey, how about you spank them, dickless?
Thomas is trying to become a doctor in pediatrics. Oh, that's nice. That's awesome. That is a lot of work. Yeah. You're going to be in uni for a while, I think, for that, right? But that's going to be a great career for you, I think, in the long run. So that's awesome. Arnold, have you ever been to Gamescom in Germany? No, I have not. No. I definitely would have loved to have gone at one point, especially when I was in the game industry. You know, nowadays, if I happen to have a chance, maybe I'll go, but I haven't had, you know. How is it? Have you been? Chris, that is so weird. So you did get served an aquarium, a sleepover at the aquarium ad. Uh-oh. They're listening. Be careful. Star-Lord, everyone, Star-Lord has an empty brain right now because it is filled with paradoxes. Thomas, yeah, 4 to 6 years. Yeah, that's a long time. That's one of the reasons why I didn't pursue any kind of... I remember I was very ambitious in thinking. At one point, I wanted to become a lawyer when I was in high school. And then I realized how much studying and reading I needed. And I said, Basically, I said this.
Fuck off!
And I just never decided to do it. Arnold, I'm at Gamescom every year. It's just awesome. Oh man, that's great. What is the main thing that you love about Gamescom? Thomas, but the NHS needs doctors. AKB, telling Chris, if you have a Google Home Assistant that you talk to, that could be why. And if you don't, uh-oh. I don't know. Big fart. Oh, he does it. Oh, dun, dun, dun. Thomas, things might and will change. I get what you mean. Yeah. Well, look, whatever you decide to do, I hope you do it and you enjoy doing it. And it makes you happy. As long as it's at the end, that's what you really want to do. One of the worst things I've seen, and it's happened to a good amount of people that I know, is that they were hell-bent in doing one thing when they went to college. Then they graduate. Then 2 years later, they realize that they don't like it. So now it becomes this big challenge to change things up and figure out what you want to do. Some people I know, some of my other friends, went back to college to study something else. It's hard. It's tough. You never really know. You know, so it's not, I'm not envious of that type of situation. It sucks. But at the end of the day, trust your gut and trust your feeling and pursue what you feel passionate about the most. And then things will work out in the end. Less about me, tell me about yourself. Look, if you got questions, ask away. I'm just hanging out with all you guys. Chris, I think I went from trying for dentist to computer science to nursing twice to bartending academy to, I forgot now, it's nice paper in my drawer. We all have various roads that we have taken in our careers. Arnold, what I really love is to see all the cosplay and just talk to people about that for hours. Why we're all there, and that's really like a big family. But it's very expensive. Yeah, a lot of these conventions are expensive. They really are. You know, and cosplayers, I mean, could you imagine the amount of time and money they put into their costume and their art, right? But it is fascinating to see what people come up with. You know, every year here we have New York Comic Con. That's like a big deal. Speaking of which, I think tickets are going to be on sale for that soon, for those of you who are interested. But I marvel at the amount of cosplayers that are there. And it is a very nice community. I like going, personally, I like going to Star Wars Celebration because that community is fantastic. They're so cool and tight-knit, and it's just great. It's great to be around these people who share the singular passion that everyone has. And I find myself having a lot of fun at Celebration. Sword said, I wanted to be a lawyer until I saw Amber Heard's lawyers. Then I was like, hell no. Oh, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp and that crazy fiasco that it was. It was funny too, because like I was very curious as to how I was going to react to Amber Heard in Aquaman 2 when that released. And then I watched it, and you can kind of tell that maybe at some points they try to hide her a little bit, but she was in very much a lot of big scenes. So yeah, sometimes you never know how someone is in real life. Have you ever been to England? Yes, Thomas, I've been twice. Twice? Maybe 3 times. Yeah, but some time ago. I remember I spent 1 week in England, just touring about. And then the second time I was there as a layover. So I was only there for like 3 days. And when I was there, I did a lot of typical touristy things. I never really, what I like to do when I travel is like, I want to do local stuff. And I found I didn't have enough time to do that because the person I was traveling with is not the kind of person who just likes to do local stuff. They wanted to do like the extravagant touristy things. So that's what we did, but I was able to, go to Oxford, check out that place, which is beautiful, and some other places there. But my all-time dream is to go and check out a football match, especially since I'm a big Tottenham Hotspur fan. So the court case was a paradox. Oh, that and then some. Yeah, England I had a good time in England. The only thing I will say is that I could never figure out what to eat when I was in England, because there isn't specifically any major English dishes, I guess, with your exception of bangers and mash and fish and chips and all that, right? I found myself eating a lot of Indian food when I was there. Tom is, oh, I'm committing a crime. I don't like football. Oh, no. How dare you? How dare you? Thomas, that's it. They are now going to kick you out of the UK. They're going to hunt you down. What sport do you like, Thomas? Dollar Johnny be good. I could see Amber Heard slowly disappearing. Yeah. Looking at her hand and just like, oh. Johnny, what are we going to do about Amber? Amber and her turd. Amber Heard's turd. Thomas is an ice hockey player. Oh, awesome. Do you have a favorite hockey team from the States that you follow? What time is it? Oh my God, it's already 3:30, y'all. All right, I'll be on for like another 10 minutes. I gotta work on a lot of stuff today, so but I'm having a lot of fun with you guys. I just want you to know all that. So yeah, just as a quick reminder, since well, here in the States, the new Star Wars Acolyte show will be releasing tonight. I think for people in the UK, it'll be releasing tomorrow morning. So tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern time, I will be live again, and I will be. It'll just be a stream dedicated to Star Wars Acolyte, talking about the 2 episodes that has dropped. So if you're interested in that, come by and check it out. Arnold, going to sleep now. Take care of yourself. Arnold, have a wonderful evening. Have a brilliant night. Hope to catch you again soon. Chris is also heading out. The Mrs. Calling. Uh-oh, Mrs. Calling. See you later, Chris. Good seeing you as always. Catch you next time. Well, everyone's leaving, so maybe now is like a great time to kind of end things here and wrap things up. So Thomas says Detroit Red Wings. Oh, okay, awesome. I have a friend who is a major Detroit Detroit Red Wings fan because, well, he's from Detroit, so that's great. But yeah, I'm going to wrap things up for now. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Big shout out, AKB, Starlord, Chris, Max, Thomas, Arnold. Who else came by and said hi? Oz. Always a pleasure. You had Vasantha before. Just going through the roll call right now. Lil Sa. Earlier, we had R.I.P., Pizza, and Lil D. Awesome. Thank you again for all the support, all the love. Hope you have a wonderful day, evening, morning. Hope to catch you again tomorrow. Thank you so much. And as I always say, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye.